Hi, welcome back. I'm Sifu Wayne, author of the Wing Chun Compendium series of books and head instructor of the Canadian Wing Chun Academy. I'd like to welcome you to the next in a series of video question and answer sessions. Let's head on out to the studio. Hi, welcome back. This week we're going to talk about a very exciting topic, something that may be a little bit controversial. I'm going to resolve the conflict once and for all by stating unequivocally what is the best martial art. Now, being a Wing Chun guy myself, you probably have a pretty good idea what I'm going to say. Just hang on to your seats. This is going to be a pretty exciting ride. Also, I get asked quite often, along the same lines, how would Wing Chun handle this type of scenario? Or how would Wing Chun techniques be used to defeat this other martial art, or this technique from this other martial art? And I'm going to answer those techniques, those questions in this video as well. So I'm going to speak first about what is the best martial art. And I'm going to take a stance here, and I'm going to say with absolute certainty and unequivocally, it depends. It depends on what are the goals of the person taking the martial art. And what are the goals or objectives of a particular martial art? If the goals of the person and the goals of the martial art are lined up, then we have the best martial art for that person. So martial arts can fulfill a number of different goals. And each person has their own goals or objectives. Some common objectives for people taking martial arts is that maybe they want to make friends or have the martial arts environment be a social activity for them. Some people may want to have fun, get some exercise. Others may want competition or some other type of self-gratification. There's, of course, the famous learn to fight or defend yourself and your loved ones. There's also self-improvement or meditation. So these are some personal goals that people might be looking for. There's logistical factors as well. People may not want to commute or drive very far to attend a martial art. They may be taking it for amusement or just for general fun, as opposed to taking it on seriously as a lifetime objective. So all of these things come into play when talking about what are the purposes for taking a martial art. And there is as wide a spectrum of martial arts as there are a spectrum of purposes for taking a martial art. So if somebody wants self-improvement or meditation, there's an art for that. If somebody wants pure fighting without any regard for self-improvement or meditation, there's an art for that. If somebody wants just to have fun, there's arts for that as well. So on the practicality, there's an entire continuum of martial arts, and there's people who want exactly that level of practicality as well. So determining the best martial art is really about identifying what are the goals of the person, what are the goals of a particular martial art, and do we have a match? If there is a match, then for that person at that time in their life, with their goals, this is the best martial art. So I get asked, is this martial art better than another? And that's not a question, I don't think that's the right question to ask. Because joining a martial art or being part of a martial art organization is a very personal thing. To say, is this martial art better than that martial art, is kind of like saying, is an apple better than a carrot? Well, you know, they're different beasts completely, so to compare them to each other, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense when you're trying to determine which one is best. So often, or maybe not often, but occasionally, one individual will try to impress upon another individual that their martial art is better or more effective. So to try and prove which martial art is best, quite often people will ask, how would your system defend against this technique from my system? And I'm going to answer all of those questions. So we might have to speed through this, or this might take a little bit longer, but I'm going to answer, how would Wing Chun defend against every technique from every system? So I have lined up 10,000 martial arts experts who are going to throw 100 techniques each, and I'll show you how Wing Chun would defend against them. Well, it looks like not very many of them showed up. Actually, none of them showed up. So I guess I'll have to do this the old-fashioned way. Regardless of which technique or which martial art, Wing Chun has some principles that we follow, and they are guiding principles that make Wing Chun what it is. Some of them you can already imagine is that Wing Chun favors the straight line over the circle or arced line. So we won't throw techniques that have a big circle in them. Straight line instead. We also tend to stay and maintain the center line. So we won't attack off to the left or off to the right. We strive to stay standing. We're a striking style, so we're going to try to finish a confrontation in under 3 seconds by striking our opponent. We are going to stay square to our opponent, so when they move, we will stay square. We will try to attack the closest target with the closest weapon. And we'll try to hit that target hard enough that it ends the confrontation. We also understand that there's no ultimate technique, that everything has a counter. So we balance winning the fight with one strike. We balance that with not being so committed to the strike that we can't change in case it doesn't work. So I will say, absolutely the strike will win the fight. But just in case it doesn't, I'm going to have a backup. When we fight, we have a saying that we follow. When one should hit, hit. When one should not hit, do not hit. and do not hit uncontrolled. So we will strive to trap and maintain control of our opponent so we can hit a clean, clear hit and win the fight. In boxing, there's a saying, the best way to get knocked out is to try to knock the guy out. What that means is, or one interpretation of that saying is, if you try too hard to land the heavy punch, you will likely leave yourself out of position. And when you're out of position, you're open to counterattack, and that counterattack could win the fight for your opponent. So we strive, as a result of that, we strive not to be out of position, and we strive, therefore, not to get hit. So we won't take a hit in order to return a hit. So by understanding these simple rules, we can then take any technique and talk logically and reasonably, not about how Wing Chun would win against that technique, but simply how would Wing Chun theory respond to such a technique. If the technique goes around, I go straight. They walk the bow, I walk the string. So I hope that explains how the Wing Chun system or the Wing Chun fighter would respond to any technique that exists out there, regardless of martial art style. And I hope it also answers for you, unequivocally and with certainty, which martial art is best. I thank you all for spending the time with me again this week. As normal, I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to talk about next week, so please send in some suggestions. Until then, thank you very much. Bye for now.